to the Mensch. We're here doing a fantastic, long-awaited review for me, at least, of a BOLDR watch. BOLDR Supply Company is a great company, I believe, out of New Zealand that makes watches and a few accessories. But for me, and for the purposes of this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Voyager watch, which is a fantastic dive watch that they offer at a very reasonable price. So let's jump right into it. So I want to start out with a couple things that really caught my eye at first when I first saw this this watch on the internet. Was first of all the different array of dial options and colorways that they do have. They have, I believe, 6 now, and so I really was interested in the green one. But after checking out a few of the other options, I opted with this brown tone Caspian. It's called the Caspian colorway, which looks a lot like the Tudor. I believe it's the Tudor Black Bay Bronze, which looks amazing, and a lot like the Glycine, the Glycine Golden Eye, which is a huge success and a huge cult favorite on Massdrop. If any of you have been on Massdrop, you'll see that a lot of people, when they do that combat sub GoldenEye, it sells out really quickly, and people actually sell them for a large profit. So again, this is for that kind of guy who's into that colorway. Brown on gold. It's a really nice combo. And let's start with that. Let's start with the case. The case is 42 millimeters, which is just like the SKX from Seiko. And something that I noticed is that this is a lot, I guess in terms of theme, it's a lot like a very much upgraded version of the SKX for me. And so, and it's really not that much more expensive, and I think it's a really great option. But it's 42 millimeters, so it sits really nice and comfortably on a lot of people's wrists. On mine, I'm about a 7-inch wrist. It looks really good. And it's made of brass. And something that's really cool about brass, maybe I'll show some B-roll for this, is that brass will actually kind of patina and show different colorations just as it oxidizes and just as it sits out and gets exposed to different elements like water and different air and salt and things like that. I would recommend maybe going to Jory Goodman did a BOLDR review where he actually put his BOLDR watch, a brass case, in raw eggs for around, I think, a day, and when he took it out, it had some green patina. It looked really cool, so that's something we might want to look into. But as far as the case goes, it has really nice curved lugs over here, and really nice polishing and finishing, and it's a brushed finish, and I definitely think it's a standout thing if you have a kind of a bronze case. And in terms of style, the brass case, because it's brown, will go with any outfit, and for me, because I wear brown boots a lot, it will go with anything that has brown accessories in it. So if you're wearing a brown belt or brown boots, this is a great option where you can match the brass case and that brown tone to anything in a brass that has brown tones in it. For me, that was a big difference maker when choosing one. Instead of going with the green or blue dial, I went with the brown because it sticks with a whole subdued brown color scheme. So from the case, let's go to the dial. The sandwich dial, to me, is also a standout feature. I love all the details in this watch, for the record, but a sandwich dial really means, it's hard to explain, but basically you have the watch face, and underneath there's another layer that has a different contrasting color. In this case, it would be the lume. And so it gives this really nice 3-dimensional effect. I love it. I think it looks amazing. As far as the numerals go, they have this really cool Arabic font. Again, super original, super well thought out. And for me, a big difference maker in terms of details is just the font that they chose. It's not something conventional. It's something that's really unique to them. The lume is great. Maybe I'll try to show some lume shots for you, but the lume is fantastic. And overall, the logo on the face of the dial is also applied, so it's really nice. It gives it a 3-dimensional look. It's got the Voyager automatic and then 200 meters water resistance, as it is a dive watch, on the dial, so it's really clean. I love the fact that there's no date window. For me, that's much more symmetrical, and for me, I don't really need the date, honestly. I think most people do know the date, so I like a watch without a date, personally. And so for me, there's a lot of things that it hits the markers on. Another thing to point out is this beautiful crown that it's got going on. It's got this kind of split, but also notched out crown that is signed with a applied logo. So it's really well thought out. The details are fantastic, really easy to grip. It's a screw down crown, so that improves the water resistance. Another thing that just fantastic job in terms of design for me. Let's move also again where this watch definitely is an improvement over the SKX, is the Sapphire Glass. This one actually has scratch resistant and AR coated sapphire glass, whereas the SKX, a lot of you know, just has the Seiko proprietary mineral glass, and for me, this is definitely a big upgrade and a big difference maker in terms of glass. The movement is actually a Seiko. Also, it's the Seiko NH35, which has hacking and hand winding. So again, that's another big upgrade from the SKX, which has that 7S26, kind of that old-fashioned movement. There's none of that fancy hacking and hand winding, so this is definitely an upgrade from that standpoint. There are a few things I just want to note in terms of pros and cons. As far as the cons go, a few things that I think could be tweaked is that the height of the watch is not super slim. A lot of times it's not going to matter in terms of a rugged watch. It does look, it looks great. The only thing is that I believe it's 13.5 millimeters height, and the only note here is that because it's got this NATO strap that has a double layer of nylon underneath it, it does add a little bit of height additionally, and for some people that could get stuck under a cuff, if that could be an issue for you, that's worth noting. Another thing is that the bezel, they kept it really simple with just minute markers, and from 1 to 15 for a dive, they have that just singled out and specified. For me, I do prefer with numbers on the bezel, but that's kind of a personal choice. But something, again, I thought was worth noting. I think 3 of their other dial options do have a different bezel, and that one does have numbers on it, so that might be worth checking out for you guys. And also, the last thing I wanted to note is that although it's a 42 millimeter, the lug to lug I believe is 45. But the thing that I think is worth noting, and I've brought my Seiko Turtle to compare that to, is that the lugs do not curve downwards as much as other watches do, and so it doesn't necessarily hug the wrist well. That's again a small detail and just something worth noting, that if you do have a smaller wrist, it might actually kind of sit higher around the edges of your wrist if your wrist is kind of smaller. Whereas the Seiko Turtle here, you can see that the strap and the band actually goes into the actual case, which is really well thought out in terms of the Seiko design. But that's why this watch, although it's 44 millimeters across, will actually look a little bit shorter on the wrist in terms of length, and therefore that might actually appear smaller. Again, dive watches in general do sit and wear a little bit smaller than other watches. So again, just to sum it up, the overall appeal of this watch I love. I think it does the vintage nautical kind of dive expedition thing extremely, extremely well. All of the BOLDR watches do. The designs are fantastic and very rugged, very adventure-y, and again, it gives you a feeling. It definitely has a personality to it. The color schemes are all perfect. I love the sandwich dial. Everything they do. It actually reminds me of kind of if you've ever been to an aquarium. I know in the Bahamas they have this kind of aquarium in one of the hotels we go to, where they have all these cool like Poseidon statues and these really cool kind of rustic persona, and it definitely fits in with that whole nautical dive kind of history, mythology. I get that feeling when I wear this watch. To me, that's exactly what you want out of the timepiece. I love the color scheme. I think it's, in terms of style, it's very versatile. It's going to stand out. I already got a ton of compliments on it. The band itself is very well thought out. The value is great. The movement's great. The sapphire crystal is great. Overall, it's a really great value. I think it comes in at $290 as it is, and I actually have a coupon code for you guys called Mensch. If you type that in, you'll get 5% off, which again, it adds up. It's a little bit of money. You'll get 15 bucks off, and that's definitely something that's a great perk that they're willing to work with me and give you guys, my loyal followers, a discount code, which is awesome. So it definitely gives you a great feeling when you're wearing this watch, definitely a personality when you're wearing it, when you look at it, something that is unique to this watch and something that is very, very difficult to copy and also establish for a watch. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. This was the BOLDR Voyager. Comment below if you like this watch. If you don't like it, things you can improve. If you have experience with this watch, let me know in the comments. Start a conversation. Follow me on Instagram, guys, at the Mensch. And stay tuned for more videos coming up soon. Don't forget to check out BOLDR watches and use code Mensch for 5% off. Thanks so much, guys.